Hello and welcome back. This is Chris with Marksman Shooting Sports in Westfield, Indiana, and you are watching Marksman TV. Today I have a real quick comparison and tabletop review for you. We will be taking a look at the new Springfield XDS Mod 2 in comparison with the original XDS. Guys, there's not a whole lot that changed on these, so it's going to be a pretty quick video. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around. That's coming up right now. Alright, let's go ahead and do an unboxing real fast. Starting over here, this is the original XDS. Now, both of these are in 45 because the new XDS Mod 2 currently is only offered in 45. So let's go ahead and open this up. Comes in a nice hard case. Inside we do have the handgun and loaded chamber flag here. So let's go ahead and remove that. Brush, cleaning rods, 2 magazines. You have one with a flush floor plate which holds 5 rounds, and then you have one with the extended floor plate that holds 6. And then you do have the interchangeable base plate and the back strap. If you want to change this out for the back here, you will have to change this on the bottom of this magazine so that they match up. Now, jumping over here, the XDS Mod 2 does have a larger box, kind of reminiscent of the old kind of gear package that they used to sell the XDs and XDMs in. This actually is not a gear package though. It just comes with the firearm, the 2 magazines like we saw over here, cable lock and all that stuff, and then the instruction manual. Now, the magazine capacities are actually the same, so your extended magazine is 6 rounds and your flat magazine is 5. Now, I did just do this off camera, but the 2 mags can swap. The flat floor plate mags can swap and actually fit. So if you do have an XDS 45 and you want the new Mod 2, your existing magazines will swap over. Now, the extended mags do not. And they only don't because of the floor plate. So you can actually, if you take off this floor plate and get a Mod 2 floor plate, then it would work. Sorry about that, the phone started ringing, but what I was saying is you can, you will have to switch out to the XD Mod 2 base plate if you want this magazine to fit, otherwise it will not. Or you could take the base plate off of this one, stick it in here, and it'll stick out a little while until you get that Mod 2 base plate. And of course that just applies if you have a standard XDS that you want to switch over to a Mod 2. So let's go ahead and jump into the specs on these, and they are virtually pretty much identical. So starting over here with the XDS, it does have an unloaded weight of 21.5 ounces, same with the XDS Mod 2. Now the length on the XDS is 6.3 inches, and the length on the XDS Mod 2 is 6.5 inches. So just 0.2 inches more, not a huge difference. The height on the XDS with the compact magazine inserted is 4.4 inches tall. With the extended magazine inserted, just like the ones you see in both, it is 5 inches tall. That is the exact same dimensions over here on the Mod 2. The barrel length on both is 3.3 inches. Now, if you basically look, kind of stack them on one on top of the other, there is, I mean, you see a little bit of that length difference, but it is virtually identical, except for some stylized changes, which we'll go ahead and talk about now. Starting up here with the slide, they both are forged steel and melanite treated. Bringing in the traditional XDS, of course, you can see rear slide serrations. Here's your exposed extractor. Moving on to the other side, of course, your XDS, graphics, Springfield Armory, all that sort of stuff. Slide serrations here. Then up on the top, you do have a 3-dot configuration sight setup. 2 dots in the rear, 1 in the front. Of course, your front sight is a high-vis fiber optic front sight. Now, in the box, you can exchange this. It does come with a little green fiber that you can cut down and insert that there, and also additional red fiber there that you can use, and that comes with both guns. Now here is your sight setup. You can see 3 dots, flat floor back plate on the back. Of course, this is a striker fired firearm, and then you do have a loaded chamber indicator up here on the top. So that little lever will stick up slightly when there is a round in the chamber as a visual cue for you. And one final note, these sights are steel in construction and drift adjustable for windage adjustments. They are not elevation adjustable. Now we're going to see pretty much a very similar setup here on the Mod 2. So you do have your rear slide serrations here. They are a little bit wider, a little bit grippier, so I guess that's one added benefit. All your graphics and information about the firearm here on this side. On this side, of course, you do have your slide serrations, your exposed extractor, external extractor there. Up on the top, you do have the loaded chamber indicator we saw on the other one, and your 3-dot sight configuration, which are steel in construction and windage adjustable. Front sight, just like the other one, is a high-vis fiber optic. Now, one change is the rear sight. Instead of being sloped like on the standard XDS, this does have a sharp shelf to it, or 90-degree shelf right here, and a little bit smaller profile. That is, of course, can help you if you want to do a one-hand manipulation of racking the slide, which you can rest out on the edge of your belt or anything and do that. I guess that's an added benefit there for you as well. Let's go ahead and talk about the triggers. Okay, here's the XDS. You do notice you have a trigger safety here, and the trigger itself is polymer in construction. But go ahead and give that a pull. You have a little bit of take up right here. You hit that wall and then you pull through into a nice clean brake. And that brake is at about 6.5 to 7 pounds. Now I will go ahead and show you the reset here. So we will just start to release, travel, and about right there is the reset. Again, you can go into a nice brake, 6.5 to 7 pounds. Now the Mod 2 is virtually identical. It is a polymer construction and you do have a little trigger safety here. You will notice the take up is about the same, about right there. You will hit that wall, you can go ahead and pull through into a nice clean brake, and again 6.5 to 7 pounds. Go ahead and show you the reset here. Little bit of travel, about right here. It'll reset and then into a nice clean brake. So same trigger, pretty much no upgrade there. So now I will show you a quick disassembly of both. The process is going to be roughly the same, so I will start with removing the magazine. Go ahead and pull the slide to the rear, and then there is a takedown lever here to actually push up into the 12 o'clock position. Go ahead and release, pull the trigger, and then release the 2 halves. Now here in the XDS you do have a double guide rod and spring, which I will go ahead and remove, pop out the barrel, and we are field stripped. Over here is the exact same process. We'll go ahead and make sure that we are empty by removing the magazine. With the slide open, we will move the takedown lever into the 12 o'clock, drop the slide, pull the trigger, and then remove the 2 halves. And here again, a double guide rod and spring, and your barrel. So as you can see, the process is just the same. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the frames. Again, here's where you're going to see most of your difference, and if you're familiar with the Mod 2s on the other full-size firearms, you're going to notice somewhat of a similar difference here. Starting off with the standard XDS, of course it is a black polymer. You can get these in different colored frames, flat darker earth and gray and that sort of thing. I don't know if you can currently on the XDS Mod 2. I do not believe you can. Now on the Mod 2 you can get it with a laser option and that sort of stuff, but currently it's obviously just released, so a little bit limited on what you can get. But here you do have an ambidextrous magazine release, and of course you do have a little bit of a texture right up here on the front of the trigger guard, and you do have a rail space up here on the front. Now the grip texture is one sort of difference, so I liken this to kind of locking your hand inside of an Iron Maiden. It is a little bit stiff, and I mean it's not that bad, but you get the joke. Kind of these triangular pyramid shape grip texturing, which is very blocky feeling, and the contours are just very straight. Of course, here you do get an interchangeable back strap, which you can switch out to change the ergonomics just a little bit for yourself, but not altogether the most comfortable feel in the world, and a lot of people do put Hogue wraparound grips and stuff like that, so that was an improvement, which I'll talk about when we get to the Mod 2. Now, of course, you do have the grip safety here and the trigger safety here. Those levers will both have to be depressed at the same time for the firearm to be functional. On this side, of course, you see reminiscent of what we saw on the other side. Here is your slide release lever here and your takedown lever here. And then your internal parts, are all steel in construction, the internal chassis system, your guide rails here, ejector, trigger bar, all that sort of stuff. And moving into the Mod 2, again, black and polymer in construction as well. A lot of the controls are the same. The rail up here at the front, there is texturing on the front of the trigger guard, your ambidextrous magazine release, which feels the same, grip safety and trigger safety. Now, the big difference is, of course, the grip. The grip, to me, is a big enhancement. I am really happy that it does not say grip zone on there like the other Mod 2s. The way that this just kind of rolls out the contours both, you kind of have like little finger grooves in here. This just to me feels way more comfortable and way more ergonomic. There is an obvious difference to me, and even picking up both and looking down the sights, I can really feel a very obvious difference, and I could even feel just the comfort level has been greatly improved, and I really like that. I didn't notice much of a difference between like the standard XDs and the XD Mod 2s. A little bit, it was a little bit more comfortable, but I definitely noticed a very big difference between these two. All the other controls, like I said, are the same. You do have your internal steel components, guide rails, and all that sort of stuff, so there's no difference there. And then finishing up with the barrels here, guys, they are pretty much exactly the same. Have the Mod 2 here on the top and the standard one here on the bottom, and if it weren't for the serial numbers, I wouldn't be able to tell them apart. They are both cold hammer forged and melanite treated. They both have polished feed ramps, and they both have a 1 in 16 twist. And again, of course, these are both 3.3 inches in length. Well, that is all the time I have for you today on these. If you have any questions, please leave those down in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by leaving a like. If you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing to our channel. Again, this is Chris with Marksman Shooting Sports in Westfield, Indiana. You are watching Marksman TV. I will see you next time.